24 Hour Sports. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Something was different this morning. I woke up and I felt extremely dangerous. I said, you know what? I'm going to just play around with the mock draft. I'm going to create the best, perfect Seattle Seahawks mock draft. And I did just that. As we get into this video, you're going to see that. But I don't want to waste your time. So let's get straight into it right away. I'm throwing a curveball at you. Number 5, I got Anthony Richardson. First, we're going to talk about why it makes sense, and then we're going to talk about the player themselves. Why does this make sense? Why do we get Anthony Richardson? Why don't we get Tyree Wilson? Why are we getting quarterback when we have Geno Smith coming back in the door, hopefully? Let me tell you something. As long as Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch have breath running through their veins, breath running through their body, you're going to need elite quarterback play to compete in that division. If we want to take it a step even further, we're going to need elite quarterback play to compete in the NFC, period. We see Jalen Hurts. We see those teams. We know the guys that are coming. So, Anthony Richardson, 4-4. All the elite tools, 40-plus vertical jump, breaking records with the broad jump. Let's talk about him as a player. Why does he make sense? Why is he the guy? Will Levis still on the board. Why is he not the guy? I spoke to it earlier and I said, if I got 2 puzzles to fix, if I got to fix this puzzle and I got to fix this puzzle, why don't I just fix the puzzle that's going to look the best in the end? I think if you get the right coaching staff, sit behind Geno, worst case scenario, you tag in Geno, Richardson plays in year 2. But ideally, sign him, try to get him to a 2-year deal. And we let him walk, bring in Richardson. And now, while we're playing, while we're competing at a high level, still going to make the playoffs next season, we got a monster. We got an absolute freak in our own backyard being built up to come on and do something special. We talk about the Patrick Mahomes method. This is that method. We talk about the Aaron Rodgers method. This is that method. It's a lot of stuff Geno can teach him. A lot of stuff the quarterback coach can teach him. Throws with power right now. Going to have to work on his touch a little bit. Work on layering those throws. I think he can do it. Watch his interviews. I have no questions whether he can reach that potential. I think this is the perfect system with a run game. On to the next. We feeling good. We just got Anthony Richardson. We have potentially what can be the best quarterback in this division. His ceiling is that high. Let's talk about our next pick. We got Lucas Van Ness. We got Hercules. We got human robot or robotic human, whichever one you want to call him. 6'5", 275 with a 6-pack. And like I said, why does it make sense? We didn't get Tyree Wilson. Now we're getting Lucas Van Ness, a guy who I think can challenge as that next edge right along with Myles Murphy. So what is his knock? How does he slide to 20 if he's a guy you believe can also go as high as 8? Let me tell you something. He's going to have to work on his pass rushing skills a little bit. Going to have to work on hand placement, playing lower to the ball. Those are things that can all be coached. But you can't coach that frame. You can't coach those long arms. You can't coach that power. He's not going to be able to just maul people and overpower guys like he did in college. But that's going to translate something to his game. Didn't really start at Iowa. There's a couple knocks on this guy, but when we look at what we need, he has it. What he doesn't have, we have it. Like I said, on the edge, we have pass rushers. We have Daryl Taylor. We have Uchenna Nwosu. But what we don't have that power. That guy to just stick his foot in the dirt and contain that leverage, contain that edge. Lucas Van Ness can do that for your football team. He's going to do that for your football team if the draft goes anything like this. Going into the next pick, we got Deonte Banks. Electric corner. 2nd round, 37 overall. Electric speed. 4.35, jumping out the gym. Let's talk about why it makes sense. We got Kobe Bryant. We got Michael Jackson. We got Tariq Woolen. This is another dog in that room. You never have enough corners. You never can stop covering and covering and covering and covering. He's going to be one of those dogs in that cornerback room. He can play outside. Ideally, you want to line him up on one of those X or Z receivers because Kobe Bryant can play in the slot. You can also move guys around in the slot. We got some depth there, but as far as outside corner, this is what you have. Match him with Tariq Woolen. Let's talk about Madden. Madden. We got 2 corners, 4-3. Tariq Woolen, 4-2. Let's get back to it, though. Deonte Banks lacks a little bit of instincts. Some things in transition. He can be had in man coverage. A couple of things that we have to look out for. But as far as the athletic tools, ball skills, another thing that we may talk about when we talk about Deonte Banks, doesn't have interception, ball production, but he can cover. He's going to cover, and he's going to do it for a long, long time in the NFL, especially on this team. Going over to the next pick, we got Steve Avila. 6'4", 330. Is that anything more I need to tell you? Is that the draft profile right there? Does it stop right there? We talk about a guard who I think can plug and play. Also, we got Charles Cross. We got Abraham Lucas. I rave about those tackles, and I've been talking about them video after video after video. Every time I talk about the Seahawks, because you add that guard in the trenches. Let's talk about Steve Avila. Already know the size, powerful guy. Run guy, not the best athlete. Don't really want to get him moving side to side. He's not really a puller. He's not a wheeler. He's not going to get on the edge and really get a hold of a guy. But he can double. He can one-on-one block some interior guys. He can get up to a linebacker. And when he gets his hands on him, you might as well just call it good night and go in and let the crowd roar. Let Kenneth Walker run for days. Let DJ Dallas run for days. You might even be letting Anthony Richardson run for days if we get his own package with Geno Smith being the predominant passer. Something I want to touch on, just saying. Sidney Brown, the next pick, 3rd round, 83rd overall, another dog, can play in a 2-high safety, played some in the slot for the University of Illinois. That was an elite defense, secondary, that we saw at the University of Illinois. We talk about Devon Witherspoon. Sidney Brown is one of those guys who performed on that defense. Going to be on the Seahawks in this mock draft. Just a dog. Quandre Diggs might be a cap casualty. Jamal Adams coming back. Can he stay healthy, though? Adding some depth in that situation, also some depth in the slot. Just a good pick. Also really a steal for what Sidney Brown is valued as, what we can get right here. Couple of questions, we think about it. How does he hold up in the box? Is he really fast enough to cover in deep zones? Can he keep up with some of the quicker receivers of the NFL? All warranted questions. But when you have a guy with the talent, you take a chance on him. Let's talk about my next pick. A.T. Perry, one of my favorite receivers in this draft. And before I say anything, of course, why does it make sense? We can play Tyler Lockett in the slot. We get another big-bodied guy on the outside. This guy's 6'3", about 6'4", 200 pounds, big. Along with DK Metcalf, now we got size. We got some other guys. We got Marquise Goodwin, but we don't really have another guy who possesses size on the outside. This is what you get with A.T. Perry. And now I want to talk about what can't he do. There's not really a lot he can't do. He's one of those high ceiling, lower floor prospects. But we talk about the drops. 17 drops over the past 2 seasons, but he was ultra productive. Sometimes you got to live with those drop concerns and really just coach a guy up, give him some talking points about attacking the ball, working on his ball skills, his 2 weaknesses. And once you do that, I think you got a home run hit, especially in the 4th round. In the 5th round, we got Carl Brooks. Carl Brooks, a dog. Not really long enough to play on the edge and not really big enough to play on the interior. Screams 3-tech if you ask me. But we're just going to have to really coach him up, play with him. Another dog, about 6'4", 300 pounds, but he's not really long. So we're going to really gear him more towards 3-tech instead of playing him on the edge. In the passing downs, I think he can shine. In the run downs, I think he can be solid. So we're really adding depth. And he's not the nose tackle that I think you guys need, but he can also add something on passing downs. Like I said, even Lucas Van Ness can add interior pass rush presence on passing downs if you want to kick down Daryl Taylor, if you want to kick down Nwosu. So this pick just makes all the sense in the world to me. Good football player, not really highly touted in this draft, but I think you're getting a real steal, real stud at this position. Going to our next pick, now we got that nose tackle. Now we got somebody who's holding the point of attack, who can really push the point in the run game. We got Gerard Clark out of Coastal Carolina, my hometown, South Carolina. Let's give him a round of applause. But one thing I want to talk about is not really a pass rush presence. You're not asking for that. With Al Woods and the other guys you have on the interior, we need to get younger. We need to add depth. I think he does that. You get this in the late rounds, back into the 5th round. So now we're talking about it. Stop the run. That's all we need you to do. If we're playing the 49ers team, we gearing up, we may not run our traditional 3-4 defense. We may get into a jumbo package on defense. You're the guy who can be along with Al Woods if we bring back Poona Ford, who can be along with Poona Ford. Just clog up that middle. Carl Brooks, the previous pick, those guys can all do it. We're bolstering up defensive line. If you can't tell by now in this mock draft, defensive line is a point of emphasis. That's something we're focusing on because we need it. We got to compete. How can we win this division? Got to start the 49ers run game. Going over to my last pick, time to throw out the papers. We got Demario Williams. athletic linebacker. Not really athletic enough to be a safety, not really big enough to be a traditional every down linebacker. So you kind of got a tweener there. But I think he's really athletic. I think he can cover, has some instinct things that he has to clean up, and that can be cleaned up with coaching. May bulk up if we're going to talk about competing for a starting spot. If we're going to talk about adding depth to that linebacker position, I think he has the frame to be able to bulk up, get about 235, playing middle linebacker. Behind Jordan Brooks, you got Cody Barton. Then you got some other guys. You got Tanner Muse, guys of that nature. I think Dorian Williams just adds something different. Tanner Muse can run. He can. Cody Barton can run. He's instinctive. Jordan Brooks, just what I think is a stud of a middle linebacker. But in this 6th round, you add in depth, a guy who maybe can develop into something special. I talk about bulking up. I talk about the athletic traits that he already has. So now we get him in our system. He's going to play some good football for us. That wraps up my mock draft. But hold up. What are you talking about? Do you even have a good mock draft? Let me show you I got a good mock draft. We like the fact check over here. We're going to fact check. What does PFF say? Give me a round of applause. Let's roll it. What do we got?